Well, good evening to everyone. Today, January 27th, my wife's birthday, bless her heart, 2021. This is recording number 160, entitled, The Law Perfect. The Law Perfect. You know, God's word is such that we need to understand back from the beginning. It says, in the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. So whenever we see a word, we should stop and get the meaning of that word or any way that that word can be used, even if it's just the word a. A denotes singular. And one denotes singular. So if we say one, we're also using the word a. Now we look at the law perfect. And we realize, what is the perfect law? Well, the perfect law would have to be God. If the law is perfect, then what else can there be besides perfection? Nothing. So if I don't feel as though I'm perfect, I need to spend time with that word and go all the way back to its origination and realize that if God is perfect, that means God is hovering over and overseeing everything, and it must also be perfect. So if I'm looking out here and seeing something that looks imperfect, then that which I am looking at must be a lie. Because the law is perfect. Now, a lot of times we will look at the words and say, well, you know, if you act up, God's going to get you. Because you didn't know. No. The law is perfect. Therefore, the law is in everything. Therefore, perfection is in everything. There is nothing that is not perfect in the sight of God. I think it's Jeremiah 29:11. God says, I know my thoughts about you. There are always thoughts of love and peace and power and an expected end. God, who calleth those things which be not as though they were. So if God is always looking at us as being perfect because we come from the perfect law, why do we look at ourselves as being imperfect and suffering? You see, that's the molehill that we need to get over. Notice I didn't say mountain, because we make the mountain of imperfection. But there really is no mountain of imperfection. Why not? Because we are perfect. Oh, Rev, I think I might want to get off this call right now. Well, I mean, that's your prerogative. God said you are perfect. You are deciding that you are not. Yesterday, I got in a conversation with someone, and I'm standing there offering them freedom. They're talking about they're suffering from this. I said, well, you can be free from that. I don't have this. You can have that. And you know what they were doing? They were arguing with me why they had to be suffering and having these things. And I'm standing there looking at them saying, do you realize I'm handing you the keys to let you out? And you are arguing with me as to why you want to stay in prison? And then they had the audacity to say, if you give it to me, you got to give it to me from King James. I said, sweetheart, Jesus Christ did not speak Old English. Come on now. Do you want to be free or not? See, that is the question. Psalm 19:7 says, the law of the Lord is perfect, converting the soul. The testimony of the Lord is sure, making wise the simple. Did you hear the key words throughout those phrases? The law of the Lord is perfect, converting the soul. So I must be a soul, and once I understand the perfection of the law, my soul is converted to understand its what? Perfection. So therefore, the testimony of the Lord is sure. Sure denotes what? Confirmed, cannot change. So now the testimony, that which God speaks, is sure, making wise what? The simple. If I see myself as being simple, see, then the testimony of God is so sure and established that it's going to make me wise. Isn't that what he told Solomon? I'm going to make you wise. God being perfect, all that is of God is perfect. I realize that you can't walk around and tell people you're perfect, but he never told you to. He simply told you to what? Be perfect as I am perfect. He didn't tell you to go around and argue your perfection. He said what? Be perfect as I am perfect. However hard this is to believe, it is so. Why is it so? Because the testimony of the Lord is sure. It's so. Now, going away from that story I told you about the person who was arguing to stay in prison, I had another person call me last night, and in the course of the conversation broke down crying because they were on their way home from work and was meditating and thinking about God, and suddenly the revelation poured in on them that says, I am that I am. And this person was so overtaken that they said, I am that. There is nothing that I have to deal with anymore. I am that. Whatever I see, I am that. There is nothing that can bother me. There's nothing. I said, you get it, don't you? And the person broke down and started crying and said, I ain't playing. I'm not playing with this. You see, we live in a world where people outside the Word of God want to tell us who we are and what we are. And we will go along with them, and they don't know what they're talking about because they have not had the experience. You see? And they're going to tell you how to be godly. And the sad thing about this life is that we get comfortable having food, we get comfortable having money, we get comfortable having clothing, we get comfortable having shelter and transportation and all those things. We get so comfortable that we think life is okay. And we live in that comfortability with that one little culprit always in the back screaming out, when I'm going to smack you upside your head, when I'm going to smack you with high blood pressure, when I'm going to smack you with a thief, when I'm going to smack you with your health problems, with your poverty problems. But as long as we got that money, as long as we can do for ourselves, what are we? Comfortable. And what will we do? We will fight off the Jesus Christ that comes to us and says, but there's one thing you need. What? Sell all that you have and come and follow me. Oh, no, I can't do that. What are you going to do? I'm going to take my chances at the judgment and trust and hope that how I lived my life is going to be okay with God. Newsflash. Newsflash, y'all. It ain't. It's not going to be okay. Why? Because when they call Jesus good, he said, why are you calling me good? There is none good but the Father. Except we get into the experience of seeing God, the good, we don't have anything. The Gentiles who do good things, because it's just their nature to do good things, will still be beaten with fewer stripes. Why? Because they never got to that place that Jesus said we needed to get to. What? Knowing the Father aright. Now you have to look at that Bible. You got to look at it in a different way now, because that Bible is not a book that just you open up and agree with what's in there and everything's okay. Don't let those people fool you into thinking it is. It's not. You can agree with that Bible. I went years agreeing with it. But I never got that peace. I never got that comfort. I never got that established harmony that I am, that I am. I have no reason to fear. What can man do to me? When one has attained the presence of God, he lives, or he has perfected his status. Did you get that? So while others are buying and selling and marrying and giving in marriage and having a good time and going here and going there, he never said there was anything wrong with doing that. He said, when I return, will I find faith anchoring your movements? You know, someone sent me a video the other day, and this man was a preacher, and he had obviously prophesied something that was going to happen, and I'm thinking it was who our president was going to be, who is not. And he said, I believe God told me that, okay? And I stand by the prophecy that it's going to come to pass. Whoa. Where are we? We almost the second week into another president, and I'm going, there's scripture in the Bible that talks about a man that prophesies and says, I gave him a message, and if that message doesn't come to pass, it's a what? He's a what? A false prophet. And yet someone sent me a video saying that even though his prophecy didn't come to pass, we're going to stand with him. Hello? Psalm 91:1 tells us that the secret place, see those words that are stuck in there? Secret place of the Most High is the place where perfection has its domain and its dominion. So where should I be spending my time? In the secret place of the Most High. Didn't tell me to go out and tell people, I meditate 23 hours a day. That's your ego. You don't need to be telling anybody you meditate anytime. You need to go to the secret place of the Most High, acknowledge the dominion and the domain of perfection, and what do you think is going to happen to you while you're spending time in that place of perfection? You are going to be changed. Your soul is going to be converted, and you will speak as God speaks. You will speak as he speaks to you, and you will not speak before him, but you will always understand that I am in the presence of the Most High. Perfection is converting my soul. I am covered by the almighty shadow. Oh, my goodness. Wherever I am, the almighty. So if I go to the Walmart if I go to the little general thing, if I go to Geico, wherever I go, the shadow of the Almighty is all around me. Why? Because my soul is magnifying the Lord and is always constantly reminding me that all is well. Well, how do you know it's well? Because the testimony of the Lord is sure. Oh, yeah, he does it. He does the work. But I'm looking for it, and he didn't tell you to look for it, did he? He told you to accept the fact that whosoever comes to him, he will in no wise cast them out. For he that has been placed in the hand of God shall not be plucked out. Lord, I have not lost any of those that you gave me, and I will not, because you gave them to me and you told me what was going to happen with them. They were going to be made perfect as I am perfect, and this was your plan, that this perfection would be in them as it is in me to you. We would all be one. This is now what I am carrying in my conscience. You see, here's a tidbit, a jewel. Your conscience is what you're seeing outpictured. So if you got a mixed bag that you believe in, guess what you're seeing? A mixed bag. Well, I can't help it. Yes, you can. How? Recognize that that's what you're looking for, and recognize that you're the one that's sending this out. Oh. And then bring your conversation over to the perfection side and watch it destroy the imperfection side. So my conscience is king. There you go. Son, thou art ever with me, and all that I have is thine. Understand, I have given you the power to create because I am the creative power. So whatsoever you conceive in consciousness is what you're going to perceive out here. So that's why I got enemies. Yeah, you got enemies because you made them enemies. But did you see what they did to me? Yeah. Did you see what they did to Jesus? See, we always look for a side exit or a window or a crack. When he says, no, pray for your enemy. Do good to them. I don't know how to do that. Yes, you do. Go into the secret place of the Most High and sit before perfection and allow God to forgive those. If you are just submitted, like I was telling somebody the other day, we got a river around here called the Tug River. And you can walk beside it as long, and then all of a sudden somebody will say, you say something to them, they say, yeah, that's the Gandhi. What? Oh, it's the tug. No, it's the Gandhi. And you walk beside it for a while, and somebody will say it's the canal. Huh? And then you go a little bit further, and it's what? The Ohio. Oh, my goodness. But if you trace it from the tug and go backwards, you'll probably go all the way back to the Garden of Eden and find out it's the four rivers that led out of Eden. They are the rivers of what? God. So man gives names to things that he chooses to give names to. That's right. But what are they? They are the river that was in the silence, that was spoken from him who had dominion over all things and spoke those things. It's the river of God. So we are charged to see everything as the presence of God, regardless of how it's speaking, regardless of how it's walking, regardless of how it's acting, regardless of how it's maneuvering out there as a tornado or flood. Oh, my goodness. Perfect law is the perfect law and it's simply perfect. But I have to hold that perfection in my conscience because my conscience is law. My conscience is law. My mentor tells a story of how he's had 5 people, 5 females, who had been told that they could not have children. Okay? They could not have children. And to date, all of these women have had children. Some of them don't have fallopian tubes. What is that telling you? Go forth and multiply. I am the law. I'm the law of God. I don't need fallopian tubes. You see, we've got to come out of this world that tells us that the 5 senses say it's so, and that's what it is. Because how can water come out of a rock? How can a Red Sea stand up? How can flames burn around a person and not touch them? Because these people have spent time in the secret place of the Most High, who does not need a man. Why? Because in the beginning was the Word, and the Word was perfect. And the Word spoke itself into being, and the Word is still speaking. We have just chosen to take on a different language. And for the life of me, we sit and watch our prayers. I used to say they would go up to the ceiling and fall down. No, they dribble off our lips and fall straight to the ground. And we will hold on to that, knowing that they don't work, and somebody walks up to you and say, hey, if you can believe that I am, you can have this. No, I don't want to believe that you are. You want to stay in that prison of not having, yeah. If I got to believe that you think that you got it going, well, what did Jesus say? If they don't accept what you're saying, kick the dust from your feet and move on to the next person. Once you understand that the secret place, the place of perfection, that is a place that we were all invited to. Every man, every woman. There is not one that he holds away. We have all been invited, but it is ruled by conscious awareness. Is that something that you have? Hello? So then, what then is defeating you? My own conscience. What I am choosing to believe. If I am not believing in perfection all around me, then I am making myself subjected to what? Defeat. If I sow to the flesh, I will reap corruption. I don't care how good you think you are. That's one thing I had to come to. I ain't good. You just gave that God. Don't matter. That don't make me good. Shoot. The mafia, they go to church. They give thousands of dollars to their church. Does that make them good while they go out and give the kill order? Oh, there's only one good. And that good pours forth as it pours forth. What did God say? Only be still and know that I am God. Be still. So once I understand that all I need to do is be still, now my conscience has to kick in and go, that which is necessary for my well-being will pour into expression. Who's doing the pouring? Who's pouring it into expression? That which was from the beginning. Father knoweth what things you have need of. Now can you see this man walking the earth And he's walking the earth and walking amongst all brothers and sisters, and they're all confused. And all he can do is see them perfect. I hope you got that. This is your practice. You have to see them perfect. Why? Because as you see them perfect, then the Father can pour through to you to them. Because he sees them. But if I don't see them perfect, what am I doing? You're holding on. You're seeing them as a human being, and you're holding back the blessing. Where are you getting this from? Did not Jesus look at his disciples and say, you are the light of the world? And he hadn't taught them anything. Oh, ye of little faith, how long shall I be with you? You feed them. Why is he telling them that? Because he's seeing them as they are, not as they appear to be. See, we have been taught that we got to come through some type of, renovation to get to the place where God can use us. Uh-uh. God says straight up, if you can believe that I am, the lady caught in the midst of adultery, what program, what class did she have to go through when Jesus looked at her and said, where are your accusers? Why didn't she say, well, I need to hang with you for 2 or 3 weeks or a month or whatever till I understand? No, he said, where are your accusers? And she said, I have none. And he said, that's right. Because God is not accusing you. But I did so-and-so. Okay. Joshua. He goes to fight in a battle. 36 people get killed, and Joshua says, retreat, and he goes back and falls down and says, what's up? And God said, you got sin in the camp. Really? Yeah, get up, dust your clothes off, let's go find the sin and move on. He didn't punish Joshua. God does not have any punishment for you. Your punishment is you not accepting the fact that from the beginning he spoke perfection into being. The perfection that he spoke into being is himself appearing as you. And that voice is being spoken throughout the universe. And as the person comes aware of this, his soul is converted, and he now becomes wise. And what is the wisdom? I'm in the Father, and the Father is in me. The Father is greater than I am, and therefore the Father is always going before me because he knows what I have need of, and I am a beholder of this greatness. And yet the Father, all that he has is mine. And I don't even have to call it to pass. All I have to do is remember who I am. Moses, I am that I am. My friend on the train, I am that I am. And it brings you to tears. What does Joel Goldsmith call it? He says, you go into the silence that thunders. Yeah. It'll thunder. You are ruled by your conscious awareness. Make no mistake. Bad stuff happening and just keeps on happening. Look at your conscience. Just look at it. Ain't nobody going to beat you down. Just look and go, wait a minute, what am I thinking at my core? From your heart come the issues of life. What am I thinking at my core? Go there and chop the root. How do I chop it? The Father is the root, and from the root the vine comes forth, and the Father is always feeding truth and righteousness and perfection into the vine, and I'm the branch. If I keep my mind stayed on the Father, what am I going to exhibit out here? Fruit. And if there be any ugliness in my life, which are bad branches and whatnot, doesn't it say he prunes them? He cuts them off. Means I let them go. All other avenues of protection that you take to secure your life must be put aside. Oh, Lord, Red, why do you say that? Because now I see myself vulnerable to all. Look at your core. See? You see yourself being destroyed? Well, tell me one thing. What are you going to do to keep yourself from being destroyed? What are you going to do to keep that big old sludge pond above your house from breaking, coming down the hill and washing you out in the middle of the night? What are you going to do to keep them walking out of here and an errant bullet that somebody shot comes and hits you? Or walking through gas that you don't know is there, a methane gas, or someone striking a match somewhere. What are you going to do by eating a certain food that's going to make you healthy? What food did God make that's unhealthy? See how you have to see perfection all around you? Why? Because God is all. If God is all, then where does anything else get its power? It gets it from my decision to think so. Nothing wrong with locking your doors at night. 3-4 days ago, I woke up in the middle of the night, and it was usually really kind of chilly in the house. I'm warm, and I'm going, man, this feels odd. I go on back to sleep, and about 2 or 3 hours later, I get up and I go out to get ready, and guess what I see? My back door standing wide open. I mean wide open, 4 feet open. And I'm like, oh, wow. I guess I forgot to lock the door last night. I thought I closed it, but there it is standing open. So when I tested, I realized, oh, that little click that I hear thinking that the little piece is going into the thing, it clicked against it. It didn't go in the hole. You see what I'm saying? Now, what if I suddenly got scared? I could have got killed last night. Uh-oh, where am I now? I'm living in the past. No, you're going forward. We have to understand. And I'm not going to run around talking about the angels of the Lord was all around my house and they were standing. No. The perfection of God is with me. And that's what I need to know and need to hear. In the place of the secret place of the Most High, the soul is cleansed of limiting values. The soul is cleansed. The soul is actually the heaven that we speak of. And it is here that there must be a shaking, a cleansing. You know, you hear these people talking about rest in heaven. They actually think there's a place. When Jesus specifically says you can't see heaven. It's a state of awareness. They will say, lo here, lo there, don't go, for the kingdom of heaven is within you. Why do people argue? Because Bishop so-and-so and Apostle so-and-so said that there was a heaven and it looks like this, when Jesus said you can't see it. The kingdom is within you. If the kingdom is within me, then there must be some kind of power exerted within me that causes my soul to be shaken, and that which cannot stay there must fall away. Do you get that? Because my soul is heaven. And I'm carrying a bunch of dead branches and dead beliefs along with the true ones up there, and God said there must be a shaking. I'm going to shake. Remember last week we had it? Once again. These 2 words, once again, I'm going to shake it. Why did he say once again? Denoting that he had shaken it once before. When did he shake it? Well, one time he shook it was back there with Adam and Eve. I have placed you in the garden of plenty. You may eat of every tree. Now here's our mind start forming all these pictures. See it? You may eat from every tree in the garden except the one in the midst. What was Eden? Eden was the perfect place. And what came in? the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. And heaven got shaken. And rather than choose to live by the heavenly state, they went into the land of good and evil, and that's where we find ourselves. We must put on the Lord Jesus Christ, which is perfection, and make no provision for our own personal welfare. That does just not sit right with people. You don't put on the Lord Jesus Christ like you put on a coat. And that's what we have done. We have taken the Bible and put on a lot of scriptures that we agree with because they are the truth, but we have not gone into the secret place of the Most High to where Paul says, when it pleased the Father to reveal his Son in me. What was he saying? Man, I was a Pharisee. I was one of the great guys until one day I realized, guess what? My prayers wasn't working. I realized I was running around killing God's people and whatnot. But when Jesus Christ came and it pleased the Father to reveal his Son in me, now, wow, I can't wait until you get this revelation. That's what Paul is saying. He says, I travail as a woman in childbirth until Christ be permanently formed in you. Oh, my goodness. And like we had just past Sunday, Thomas said, except I see, except I touch, I won't believe it. 8 days later, Jesus walks in the room and says, hey, Thomas, touch. Hey, Thomas, see. Which tells us that Jesus was there when Thomas said it 8 days earlier. But he chose to come and say, hey, and look at the revelation that Thomas got when Jesus said, touch, see, feel. Where does Thomas go? My Lord and my God. The silence thundered. It thundered. It is God that shakes the heavens of our belief that our soul would be converted unto righteousness, perfection. God does the shaking. All of the stuff that comes at us in a day is not sent to us by God. It's sent because this is a place where whatever people want to conceive, it comes at you. Hate, lying, cheating, stealing, murder, mayhem, chaos. And we carry beliefs within our system, within our structure, that support what we believe about every one of those categories. And God is saying, with a single eye shall you judge. Shaken. What's being shaken? You are heaven being shaken. What's being shaken out? Like the Christmas tree. When that dude start getting old, you shake it, what happens? All them little leaves, it's a real tree, them little old brittle things, they fall to the ground, don't they? That's what he's saying. I'm going to shake. There's a shaking going on, and you have to look and go, perfection. God is perfection. I don't need to know what God's going to do about that, but God is perfection. Because God is perfection, that which can be shaken is going to fall away. Oh, my goodness. What does it profit a man to achieve worldly ownership and lose his most precious possession? The perfect soul. That's all we're supposed to be accomplishing in this world. Not to have a good life. If you get your soul perfect, guess what you're going to have? A good life. Jesus said, I come that you might have life and you might have it more abundantly. What does that mean? I come to get your soul back on track. And because I got it back on track, your soul now is going to prosper. Oh, my goodness. Who said that? John, a lowly fisherman. A lowly fisherman. Here he is over in I think it's 3 John. Or 2 John, one of them, he says, Beloved, I wish above all things that you prosper and be in health, even as your soul prospers. Look at the change that went with this man. So if you think you're limited, you need to look at your beliefs and drop them. Why? Because if he can do that for a lowly fisherman, what will he do for me? This is the greatest of testimonies, the perfect soul, no longer simple, but now wise. The soul has been converted. Wow. Wisdom now abounds. Now you realize that Solomon is not the wisest man. I am that I am. I am now the perfect law made visible. God bless you.